What's going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back with another video. And in this video, I'll be talking about 5 things the Cleveland Browns need to do this offseason. I guess you could call this video my Browns offseason checklist video. And keep in mind, I'll be keeping track of these objectives in the description down below. And when the Browns do complete an objective, I will check it off. And once the offseason is completed, I will come back to this video and we'll see how many of these objectives the Browns actually completed. If you ask me, I think they're going to do 3 of the 5 things on this list. But we'll see. So with that being said, let's get right into it with objective number 1. This is a very important one, guys, and that is hire a GM. Yes, before you do anything else, you got to hire a GM. And the way it's looking, Andrew Berry is going to be our new GM. Now, could you imagine the chaos if Andrew Berry decided to back out just like George Paton did? Now, I don't fault George Paton for backing out. I'm not mad at him. I mean, I'd rather go back to a stable situation in Minnesota than come work for a trigger-happy GM who will probably fire you in 2 years if the team is mediocre. You know, I mean, you can't trust Haslam to keep you around long-term. Like I said, he's probably going to fire you in 2 years. I mean, for all I know, we could be looking for another head coach freaking in 2 years. Who knows? I mean, if Kevin Stefanski comes out here and starts balling out, Jimmy will probably still fire him just because he wants to keep up his, repertoire of firing coaches after 2 years, even if he's not that bad. I'm joking, by the way. I think Kevin will last the majority of his contract, but we'll see. So, I think it'll be Andrew Berry. Of course, the only other candidate is Monty Ossenfort from the Patriots. Now, the Browns could be waiting on the Super Bowl to finish up to maybe interview some guys from the Chiefs and Niners, but I haven't heard of any other candidates from those teams. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do think Andrew Berry will be the Browns' next GM, and that'll be big for one of our big free agents coming up. So you have to see what I think about that coming up here in a little bit on this video. So objective number 2. This is also a big one. And this correlates with this guy back here. Sign and or draft an offensive tackle. Now, when it comes to the draft, we already know some names that have been linked to the Browns. Tristan Wirfs, Jedrick Wills, of course, Andrew Thomas, my guy. And another name I just heard a couple days ago, Mekhi Becton from Louisville. Keep an eye on him as the draft gets closer. I would not be shocked if we took him at 10, especially if Thomas and Wills and Wirfs are gone, which is possible, but I think one of those guys would be available at 10. But we'll see. Now, when it comes to free agency, of course, Greg Robinson is a free agent, and Chris Hubbard sucks. So my guess is we're going to sign and or draft at least 2 guys. I think we draft one, and I think we sign one. Now, when it comes to the free agents, there's some pretty good guys out there. Anthony Costanzo, Brian Bulaga. I mean, you could go Jack Conklin if you want to go right tackle. There's like Cameron Fleming, who's on a club option. There's Jared Valdir, freaking Mike Remmers, DJ Humphreys. There's Donald Penn. I mean, I'm talking, these guys are very cheap, though. Dennis Kelly, if you want to go super cheap. Or if you want to go really expensive and old, you could go Andrew Whitworth. But I don't know if Andrew Whitworth's going to play. I mean, he's 38. You know, I mean, you could use him as a stopgap, if anything, at left tackle. But I think we're going to draft and sign one. And if you want a prediction from me, I think we draft Andrew Thomas and we sign either Brian Bulaga or Jack Conklin because they're both right tackles, and Andrew would be playing left tackle. So, boom, there you go. Problem solved. So, objective number 3. Look at me, my numbers. Key number 3. Objective number 3. Sign and or draft a safety. Now, looking at the Browns' current safety depth chart, we really only have like 2 safeties. One actual safety and one on the practice squad. Shadrick Redwine and JT Hassel. That's it. I mean, I guess you could count TJ Carey because he's technically a safety, but he's more or less a corner. I mean, Justin Burris, Demarius Randall, and Eric Murray are all free agents. I think we need some safeties. Now, of course, in the draft, there's some pretty good ones. Isaiah Simmons, of course, comes to mind. Xavier McKinney from Bama. Of course, Antoine Winfield Jr., who I've seen on plenty of Browns mock drafts. I mean, honestly, it's not a Browns mock draft if you don't have Antoine Winfield on it. For real. Those are probably the three biggest guys I've heard. And then when you're looking at the safety position, let me look it up here real quick. Boom, there you go. Let's see what safeties are available. I know Devin McCourty is probably the biggest name available. Of course, you got Rodney McLeod. You got Jimmy Ward. He's an option, possibly. Tavon Wilson. My guy, Anthony Harris. I think the Browns will go after him hard right there, especially with Kevin Stefanski coming in. But Clinton Dix, Carl Joseph. You have Trey Boston, who has signed late the last couple of years, and he's actually been pretty good. There's some other names out there. I mean, if you want to look at Jordan Lucas or Nate Ebner, Clayton Gathers, Michael Thomas from the Giants. You have Adrian Phillips, Jeff Heath. You could possibly bring back Demarius Randall. There's a lot of names out there. Obviously, the biggest one is Devin McCourty. But if you want a prediction from me, I think, again, we sign and draft one. I think we sign Anthony Harris, and hopefully we draft maybe Winfield or McKinney. I don't think we get Isaiah Simmons unless we jump up in the draft to take him. I think he'll go very early with the way he's been playing, especially if he shows out in the combine and stuff. But we'll see what happens with that. So, yeah, I think we sign Anthony Harris and we draft like one of either Xavier McKinney or Antoine Winfield Jr. Now, key number 4, re-sign Joe Schobert. Now, this correlates with Andrew Berry becoming our GM because obviously Berry helped draft him. So I think that would help things out really big there. And then key number 5 is re-sign Kareem Hunt. Now, the thing here is Kareem Hunt is a restricted free agent. So if anyone tries to sign him, we could match it. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, you probably have heard by now that Kareem Hunt did get pulled over for speeding, and they did find weed in the car, but it wasn't his. And it wasn't even his car. It was his mom's, I think. So he got off the hook with, I think, only a speeding ticket or something, or a citation, I think, for the weed or whatever. But he didn't get arrested, thank God. So we'll see what happens with that. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. I'm Crazy Dog 99. Let's go Browns. And I'm out.